Welcome back to the kitchen. It's very much still a fall preview here in Kansas City. So we're going to do a couple what I call one-ish pot meals this week. Going to make a lot, have some left over that you can either keep in the fridge or we can put in the freezer and, a month or two down the line, pull them out and they're still going to be just as good as they were the day you made them. Tonight we're making a classic pork ragu. So here I have 1.5 pounds of country style pork ribs. There are a couple small bones in here that we'll have to fish out once it cooks and we go to shred it, but nothing major. All I've done to prepare these so far is pat them dry, and then I'll add some salt to them right before I sear them over at the stove. But this is a very simple dish. I'm gonna cook it with some tomatoes for a couple hours. Like I said, it's a one-ish pot meal, so a large majority of this is going to be cooked in a Dutch oven or just any large pot that you have. And then you can either eat it with rice, eat it with noodles, but minimal cleanup, minimal amount of dishes. All that you really need is a little bit of time, no special kind of technique, something anyone can do. So let's get over to the stove and let's get it started. So I have in my Dutch oven about a tablespoon, maybe a tablespoon and a half of olive oil on medium-low heat. I've heated it up till it's nice and shimmering. And now all I'm going to do is take my pork ribs. I'm going to lay them fat side down. It's a little bit of a fat cap on them. All I want to do is start to try to render some of that fat out, and that will help flavor the dish. I'll also crank up the heat just a little bit to medium. Like I said, we'll let these sit. I'm going to let the fat render out a little bit and try to get a little bit of color on the ribs, on the pork as well. Now I'll add seasoning to the side that I didn't get before. And we're just going to let them sit untouched for a couple minutes. So right before I flip these over, I just want to point out to you, now I say these are going to cook for a couple hours. And as you can see, all of this connective tissue, all of this fat marbling, that's what we have to render out. And so what makes it nice about what makes this dish nice is because you have all of this fat that you have to render, you can let it just sit and run on its own and not have to worry about it, and you're not going to run the risk of drying it out or making it inedible. So now this has been on the fat side for about 2 or 3 minutes now. Just going to rotate it the opposite side, and let that one go for a couple minutes, and then we'll do one more side. So in all, you're going to be 6 to 9 minutes of nice just searing to try to get some color and try to develop some fond on the bottom of the pot before we really move on. So this is the third side that I've seared. About another, again, 2 to 3 minutes. So I'm going to pull it out. It's got okay amount of color. Nothing super deep, but still, it's going to help. As you can see, we've got some fat in there that we've rendered off, and that's very good. That's going to help with flavor. So now what we will do is take 2 cloves of garlic that we've minced, and then optionally I'm going to do it, add a teaspoon of tomato paste, give that a quick saute, and then I'm going to go in with I'd say 1/2 to 3/4 of a cup of red wine. I just used up whatever I had left over. So that will stop the cooking process. of the garlic so it doesn't burn. It will help pull up any fond that you may have developed on the bottom of your pot, which is a good thing. We'll let that reduce just for a second. And then we're going to go in with 28 ounces of canned tomatoes. These are diced. And I'm adding all of the juices, plus I'm going to add a little bit of water to the pot. And then again, optionally, at this point, if you had any, you could add some rosemary if you like it. But here what we're going to do is just add the ribs back in, any accumulated juices that you may have picked up along the way. And we'll let this come back up to a simmer, and then we're going to partially close the lid. We'll leave some space for liquid or for steam to escape. But other than that, you're done. You bring this up to a simmer and then you just let it go for 2.5 hours until the pork literally starts to fall apart. So we'll see you back in a minute. So I've got it back up to a simmer, probably just above medium-low, just below medium heat. And then all we'll do is partially cover it. And now it just goes until it's done. So a little under 2 hours and we are done. I did end up having to add about a cup of water to the ragu just because it was starting to cook out a little bit faster than I expected. So what we'll do is I'm going to push this off to the side and we'll get the pork out. And there's going to be still some bits of fat connected to it that you can discard when you shred the pork ribs. If you want, you can leave some bigger chunks in there if you want. But there we go. And so then what you have to do is you see how nice and tender that is. Comes right apart, shreds very easily. You can shred this as fine as you want, or like I said, you can leave bigger chunks. It's a bit of a tougher bit. These seem to have... Oh, there we go. See, there's a bit of gristle. You can get rid of that. Same with that. Just a piece of fat that didn't render out all the way. And you'll get that. You'll find that when you go through. But pretty well shredded all of this up. So this will go back into the pot. And there you go. Your pork ragu. And like I said, you can serve this however you want. I'll probably end up serving this with some rigatoni, although we also do eat this with some brown rice and it's very good with that. But just make sure you taste and adjust seasonings to your desire. Other than that, enjoy.